This is video series on public administration, and this is video 2.11, and today's topic is functions of the executive, Chester Barnard. So this is part 2 of the video series, and we have already discussed his previous concepts, and now we will continue his other concepts. So first concept is of responsibility. So what Barnard says about responsibility. So this is most vital function of the executive. Vital means जो जिंदगी के लिए necessary है, most organic function. So point of view of morality. So how responsibility is defined. So it is defined by Barnard according to the view of morality, means what is right and what is wrong, rather than means you have to complete the that job or things like that. He has very different concept of responsibility, and you should totally mug up. First of all, point of view of morality has three things. First is private codes. Every person has his own points of morality. This will be beneficial in ethics paper also. Then legal, technical, professional and institutional codes. So these are the codes which are given to you when you join the job. Like if you become a civil servant, there will be a professional, administrative, ethics and codes. So you will be given that. Then internal moral sanction. So internal moral sanction comes when you think that the whatever job I am doing is right. So if you are able to complete that job, so you feel that satisfied, and responsibility comes from morality. So then he talks about conflicts. For example, if someone is given a job and he is not able to complete that job, or he doesn't want to do the job in the way the order is given to him because it is in conflict with his morality. So what will happen? First of all, paralysis of function. He won't do the work. Then guilt. He will feel sad or neglected. Then discomfort. He will not feel good. And delegation. He may pass the authority to others instead of doing the work. For example, taking leave or resignation. So this is all about responsibility. Then decision making. So decision making, how persons make decisions. So first of all, there are two types. One is personal decision and second is organizational decisions. So personal decisions are informal. They are based on personal preference and not necessarily to be logical. So if you are making any decision for yourself, for example, I want to eat pizza or I want to eat chocolate, so that depends on you, whatever you want. But organizational decisions, these are formal decisions. They are based on information and they are logical. So they are according to the organizational purpose, and they will be coming in a formal way, like written or orally or email, any through, and they are based on facts and information through which your organization is run. So this is the difference between the decision making processes. And later we will see how decisions are made actually in Barnard's decision making theory and all that. Then fear of criticism. This is very important. For example, many people or many officers don't want to take decisions because decision making is a very means responsible task, and it requires a lot of deliberation and responsibility. So people, instead of taking decisions, they don't take decisions because they fear that they will be criticized. That's why bureaucracy keeps on delaying processes. Then the executive functions. So that's the name of the Barnard's book. So what are the functions? First of all, ensure coordination. This about coordination we have already discussed in previous video. You can watch it. Then channels of communication. This is very important. And what are the characteristics of communication? Like it should be continuous. It should go to every employee. It should be in as direct as possible, as short as possible, and it should be totally legible. So these things are means communication characteristics you can see in previous video. Then these three we will discuss. Formulation of purpose and objectives. How purpose is formed, means this is the main characteristic of executive. Then maintenance of organization communication. So once channel of communication is established, then how you maintain that communication, means continuity. And then securing essential services from individuals, and how you will make sure that individuals cooperate to you in achieving the organizational goals. So now we will see these three. So first is formulation of purpose and objectives. So how executive is going to form the objectives. So first of all, it must be acceptable. I mean, people should be accepting your decision or whatever purpose you are forming. Then subdivision means whatever purpose you are making, you should divide it into sub parts and make a comprehensive plan. And then environment of organization, and it also depends on whatever objectives you are giving to your organization, if that is acceptable in the environment that you are working. For example, goals and purposes could be different in developed countries and developing countries according to their social criteria and needs and everything. Then maintenance of organization communication. So how communication is maintained. So first, defining organizational positions. As you can see that competent persons are required on those nodal points where which decimate the communication. So organization means who is going to do what or who is who. This should be totally defined. Then maintaining a personal system. Personal system maintenance means you have to take care of the employees and their needs, and then if employee need is satisfied and their position it is defined, then organizational communication will become very easy. Then securing an informal organization. So he directly says that informal organization is very important for securing communication. So what are the characteristics? Communicate unintelligible facts, opinions, suggestions. So some things you can't just share through formal things. For example, means you are very annoyed with some particular employee, so you just can't directly go and complain about that employee to your boss. You go through informal channels. Then self-discipline. Sorry. So self-discipline is very essential for securing informal organizations. For example, means whatever organization you have to means keep it between a particular limit. For example, you are in third year, so you have respect and cooperation with your fourth year guys, and you have relations with your juniors also, but you have to keep every informal relation in a limit. Then personal influences. So these are the some means any personal will be influencing the informal organization. And then minimum formal decisions. So in informal organization securing, so formal decisions will be minimum, because you can communicate through informal organization. So that's all about organization communication. So these 3 points you should remember. Okay, and this is the last point, securing the essential services from individual. How to actually get the job done. So first of all, you have to maintain the morale somehow by giving them more incentives and everything. Provide incentives. This is the chief function of the executive, that he has to balance between incentives and work done. Then deterrence means punishment. So people should note that if they are not going to do a particular work correctly, then they will be punished. Then supervision means they should be effectively supervised. Then control, education, training. These are all the tools through which you can ensure the cooperation of your organizational members. Then leadership. What is the concept of leadership according to Bernard? First of all, his main function is to achieve cooperation in the organization. Then he should be a realist, means he should work according to present situations, what are the conditions, and he should mold himself. And then should also be an idealist. Idealist means what? Means he should be able to foresee the future and those things which have not happened right now, or which are not also possible to be happened, but he should be a good thinker. Then organizational science. So Bernard says that we should integrate the management of art and science, and understand anthro, socio, psycho, ecological, economics and management. And we have to actually make sure that all these things are combined so that we get right administrative science. And for combining all these things, we will require higher intellect. So this is all about Bernard. And now we will see his evaluation. For everything here you should remember evaluation part surely. So first of all, first criticism was he has given very less and trivial example. Trivial means very minor examples. Then definition of authority according to him is that participation rather than acceptance or rejection. So means according to him people can reject authority if they are not able to accept it, but in real condition it's like you have to accept the authority, and participation should be the motive. Means conflict should be resolved and people should be able to participate. So this means totally idealistic that people actually can reject the authority. And then incentives basis for decision to cooperate, but answer says it's avoidance of regressive behavior. So according to Bernard, he says that people are utilitarian and they actually want to get more incentives so that they cooperate, but answer says that people don't want trouble and they want to avoid any bad image or those things, so that's why they cooperate. Then cooperation basic necessity of human life according to Bernard, this is very true and dismantles the concept of economic man. So he totally rejects that man is only incentivized by economic things like money and everything. So he has told that man needs good environment and power, or means personal and good working condition, then participation, acceptance and everything. So these things you can see in part 1 video, and that's all about Bernard. And thank you guys, please like, share and subscribe. Thank you very much.